Good morning, everybody. Hope that your Monday is off to a good day. And today we enter into chapter 7 in our studies through the book of Isaiah. Two things I want to bring out before we jump into the text of chapter 7 this morning. The first one is to notice the jump in time that we have. We've talked about the fact that Isaiah is not laid out for us in chronological order. Last chapter, in chapter 6, we looked at something that took place in the last year of King Uzziah. And then we come into chapter 7, and chapter 7 is going to tell us that this takes place, this particular message is going to be during the days of Ahaz. The only thing is, Ahaz is not going to take the throne until about 20 years after the time of Uzziah. And so, again, it's not in chronological order. You're going to have about a 20-year discrepancy, at least, between the things that are said in chapter 6 and the things that are going to be said in chapter 7. The other thing I want to mention is that chapter 7 does not stand on its own. Chapters 7 and following are one of the longest continuous messages within the book of Isaiah. You are actually going to have one continuous message from chapter 7 all the way through to chapter 12. So you need to understand as we enter in, what we're going to look at today is not the entirety of what Isaiah has to say in this message. It is actually going to be just one small chunk, and we're going to add chunks into that. And Lord willing, be able to make some comparisons and also pull some things through all the way through this section from chapter 7 to chapter 12. So what you have in chapter 7 is not the entirety of the message. It will be the first part of what we're going to study for about 10 to 12 days in this message that Isaiah has. So with that being said, let's take a few moments this morning and examine Isaiah chapter 7. In Isaiah chapter 7, there Isaiah writes, "Now it came to pass in the days of Ahaz, the son of Jotham, the son of Uzziah, king of Judah, that Rezin, king of Syria, and Pekah, the son of Remaliah, king of Israel, went up to Jerusalem to make war against it, but could not prevail against it. And it was told to the house of David, saying, Syria's forces are deployed in Ephraim. So his heart and the heart of his people were moved as the trees of the woods are moved with the wind. Then the Lord said to Isaiah, Go out now to meet Ahaz, you and Shear-Jashub your son, at the end of the aqueduct from the upper pool on the highway to the fuller's field, and say to him, Take heed and be quiet. Do not fear nor be faint-hearted for these two stubs of smoking firebrands, for the fierce anger of Rezin and Syria and the son of Remaliah. Because Syria, Ephraim, and the son of Remaliah have plotted evil against you, saying, Let us go up against Judah and trouble it, and let us make a gap in its wall for ourselves, and set a king over them, the son of Tabel. Thus says the Lord God, It shall not stand, nor shall it come to pass. For the head of Syria is Damascus, and the head of Damascus is Rezin. Within 65 years, Ephraim will be broken, so that it will not be a people. The head of Ephraim is Samaria, and the head of Samaria is Remaliah's son. If you will not believe, surely you shall not be established. Moreover, the Lord spoke again to Ahaz, saying, Ask a sign for yourself from the Lord your God. Ask it either in the depth or in the height above. But Ahaz said, I will not ask, nor will I test the Lord. Then he said, Hear now, O house of David. Is it a small thing for you to weary men, but will you weary my God also? Therefore the Lord himself will give you a sign. Behold, the virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel. Curds and honey he shall eat, that he may know to refuse the evil and choose the good. For before the child shall know to refuse the evil and choose the good, the land that you dread will be forsaken by both her kings. The Lord will bring the king of Assyria upon you and your people and your father's house, days that have not come since the day of that Ephraim departed from Judah. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord will whistle for the fly that is in the farthest part of the rivers of Egypt, and for the bee that is in the land of Assyria. They will come, and all of them will rest in the desolate valleys and in the clefts of the rocks, and on all the thorns and in all pastures. In the same day the Lord will shave with the hired razor, with those from beyond the river, with the king of Assyria, the head and the hair of the legs, and will also remove the beard. It shall be in that day that a man shall keep alive a young cow and 2 sheep. So it shall be from the abundance of milk they give, that he will eat curds. For curds and honey everyone will eat who is left in the land. It shall happen in that day that wherever there could be 1,000 vines worth 1,000 shekels of silver, it will be for briars and thorns. With arrows and bows men will come there, because all the land will become briars and thorns. And to any hill which could be dug with the hoe, you will not go there for fear of briars and thorns, but it will become a range for oxen and a place for sheep to roam. Again, recognize that this is not the end of the message. It is just a junction point in the message. And so in a couple of days, we're going to come back and look at chapter 8, and you will see a continuation along this very same thought. There's a number of different players involved in what takes place in chapter 7 and a number of things to pull from. But let's pull out 3 different lessons from chapter 7 for next week, or for tomorrow, and we will look at them then. So until tomorrow morning, hope you have a good study, and keep up with looking through Isaiah and laying those things out. I hope that you're benefiting as much as I am. Have a great day.